Praises to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Peace to everybody in the name of Jesus. And peace to everybody that's online. Okay, the title of today's lesson is Why Israel? Now, we know that there's a lot of different religions out there. You know, you got different factions. You got even different, even not just dealing with like Muslims and Buddhists. I mean, talk about there's a lot of different, but even within those denominations, you got denominations with different, like with Christians. There's a lot of different of those. You know, you got Baptist, Methodist, Presbyterian, Catholic. I mean, it goes on and on. What people fail to realize is when you say Israel, they think that it's just some unknown entity, but it's really dealing with God. And if you have just a little bit of knowledge of reading the book, you'll find out that that's what the whole Bible's about. But when you ask the average Christian about or say anything about Israel itself, they look at you like you speaking a foreign language or something. like it's foreign. And when you're new in the word, you probably be hesitant to even say something about Israel because you know the type of reaction you might get from somebody when you say, they ask you, because they always ask the question, oh, well, what denomination is you on? What are you? And then you tell them Israel, they look in puzzle. Not to mention that Israel's in the book. I forgot what the brother told me, but it was over 3,000 times they mentioned Israel. But you don't know who Israel is and what about Israel. So I titled the lesson is Why Israel? Because we're going to find out through this lesson that, which if you read the book, you'll find out, that's what it's all about. But in essence, we're going to find out why we even use the name Israel. Because people think that that's okay, Israel, and it is a group of people, you know, because you got a faction of some, which they call Hebrews. And it's a reason why they call that. We're not going to even get into that because we're not here for that. But it is a land, it is a people called Israel, which they think, okay, most people think they call it Judaism is what they practice, right? And so they say, okay, well, that's they form. But really, that's where Christianity comes from. You read the book of Acts, you'll see the first Christians were the apostles, which were Jews. They came from, Israel, which was Israelites. But then we got to get into the crux of the matter and understand who is Israel and where did that come from and why. Because that's what people fail to realize is everything that comes from Israel is coming from God. See, so it's not no different denomination or you do it this way, I do it that way, or, we all going to get there together. No, that's where the problem is. Everybody want to do it their way. What you need to do is find out, I'm not trying, because, I talk to people, even talk to people in my family, and they'll say, just we all love, brothers, and we all supposed to love, respect my religion, respect my religion. I respect yours, you supposed to respect mine, and we supposed to be all right because we respect each other. That's the way it's supposed, that's love. And that would sound real good, right? To the average ear, that sound wholesome, everybody love, we come together, a big, big peace thing. But no, it ain't about my religion and yours. We don't respect God. See, that's where you have the disconnect. Let's respect what God said. So we're not choosing, when I say I'm an Israelite, forget just the nationality, because that's what I am. But we're going to get to the point of the matter of following God's way. And that's what people fail to realize. And when we get through this lesson, we're going to find out that the whole why Israel, the name, that's God's name. And I'm going to show you that through the book. So we under the practice of God. That's why when brothers open up, you hear sometime on the Lord's Sabbath day. Because it comes from God. Even the very name Israel. So when you do away with Israel, you're doing away with who you so-called to say you believe. And when you're a Christian, you believe in Jesus, right? Well, hey, that's his name. And that's part of what you have to come up under, which will be like an adoption. When you adopt somebody, you have children, what you do to be a part of God, because God is our Father, right? But since in the garden, we kind of had a disconnect because we listen to Satan. So Now you have to be brought back unto God. See, to be part of God's kingdom, you got to have a mind of God. So to have that mind, you have to operate like God. And when you operate like God, like the patriarchs Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob did, they follow under God. So then you become a child of God. See, you can become a child of God or you become a child of Satan. You read throughout the scriptures, you learn that. You choose either way. And it's predicated on your behavior. That's what makes you either a son or a daughter of God. How you think in your mind and your actions. So once you get under that banner, that's adopting. And we're going to find out through the scriptures that's what happened with Jacob. We're going to read it and find out how we got to this point. So we're not just, you got to understand, we're not just following just to be following something or just to be a part of a group that say we about somebody or we about something. It ain't none of that. It ain't never been about that. I didn't get into this thing because I found out, it does help when you find out who you are. But the main reason is we find out it's about God. It's the uncut word of God and it's the truth. So once you find that out, then you know what you're dealing with. So we're going to get into the lesson. Why Israel? Because like I said, it ain't just because I got my religion and you got yours. No, we all supposed to have God religion. Wherever God is, that's what we're supposed to be taking a hold of. Not basically going off on what we think. Because, hey, what we think don't matter. So we're going to open up the book. Romans chapter 3. Because this thing that came down the line straight from God. And it's an order. If you do away with Israel, you're doing away with God and you're dealing with something else. There's no other way around it. You have to deal with it according to the way God has it set up. If not, you're going to be doing like these so-called priests that's over in Rome doing. You be worshiping statues and stains and everything. I'm just putting it out there. Because they supposed to be the so-called priests of God, right? And if you do that, you're going to go sideways. And trust me, in Romans, Paul was dealing with them. He was dealing with them. He's talking to them not to get puffed up. And that's what happened. So we're going to read into this and see some of this stuff and understand this. He was telling them, hey, don't go down that road. But obviously they went down there, the things he was telling them not to do. Because they took over like so-called supposed to be priesthood. And trust me, Paul was teaching them the right way. But somewhere along the line, they decided, we don't need Israel no more. We got it. It's about us. And when you do that, statues come in. You saying about 15 Hail Marys. You confessing and calling some man in the booth father, with the scripture tell you, call no man your father. So you just going sideways. But that's always going to happen when you deviate from the way God set it up. You can steal a lot of stuff in this world, but you ain't taking God's word. It ain't going to happen. What happened is you're going to lose your mind and start praying to like they did over in Chicago. There was a stain under a viaduct. They was looking at it. Oh, it looks like symbolizing marriage. They was putting shrines and everything down on there, praying to it. But that's what happened when you go sideways with God's word. You lose your mind. Romans 3. Romans 3. And pick it up at verse 1. Romans 3 and 1. Go ahead, brother.
What advantage then hath the Jew? Or what profit is there of circumcision?
So he asked the question. The question was, he said, what advantage is the Jew? Because that's what we all need to know, right? Because the title of the lesson is, why Israel, right? So we need to know why. And Israel actually is one of the tribes of, if you don't know, there's one of the 12 tribes of Israel. It's short because the 10 tribes are enslaved. So it's short and there was 2 tribes there, plus the Levites. So they just become worldwide known as Jews, which is from Judah. So he said, what advantage have the Jew? Or what?
Or what profit is there of circumcision?
So he said, what profit is circumcision? Circumcision is part of the covenant. But go ahead, verse 2.
Much every way, chiefly because that unto them were committed the oracles of God.
See, it was committed to them. It was given to them by God. God handed it down. That's what that's what happens. Like they had 10 commandments which come on, around springtime, which it's off now because that's around the Passover time. They had that show come on. Well, hey, it was given to the patriarchs, but then it was made official throughout all Israel through Moses. So it was given to them. He said, much weighed chiefly because it was given to them, committed the oracles of God. For what?
For what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of God without effect?
Now, I wasn't going to read that, but hey, that's the way certain people feel. That's their thought. That's their mindset. But let's go further. Let's go to Genesis 17. Let's go back and read like when the covenant first started. Genesis 17. Now, you talk to a whole lot of people, and when they speak about Abraham, the patriarch, it's a lot of respect there. And we're going to see why. Genesis 17, and pick it up at verse 9. 17 and 9. Go ahead.
And God said unto Abraham, thou shalt keep my covenant, therefore, thou and thy seed after thee in their generation. This is my covenant, which ye shall keep between me and you and thy seed after thee. Every man-child among you shall be circumcised.
So he's letting you know right there. He's like, hey, this is the covenant of God. Because we said what advantage is the circumcision, right? We read that, right? He's telling you right here exactly, hey, every man-child, they need to be circumcised. This is the covenant of God. And we're going to find out when you start to read this, it's got great significance. See, Lord don't have you doing something just to be idly doing something. Oh, yeah, you just cut your foreskin. Because you have a lot of people like that. You have a lot of people, these days, if you haven't get circumcised, they say, oh, that's just useless. You don't even need to do that. Why? That's unnecessary pain. Why you want to go through unnecessary? You don't understand the covenant of God. Because it's actually showing you, man, when you come up under God, it's a change of heart, which is your mind. That's what that's represented. But when you don't deal with God and don't know God, which is majority of the world, you think it's just useless and ain't about nothing. You need to get educated. But what verse you at?
11.
Go ahead.
And ye shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a token of the covenant betwixt me and you.
So he let you know, if you do this, that's you getting up on the covenant with God. I don't know sometimes you get some brothers that get to be old. I ran to a few, they're going back and forth with the circumcision. But hey, if you want to be a part of God, this is part of the covenant. You taking whole covenant like a marriage. This is what you're getting into. If you want to be a part of God's kingdom. Because everybody will say, I want to be a part of God's kingdom, right? But you got to go through the works. You got to be obedient. You got to go through what it is to take to get that. Like you would do anything else in the world. You're not going to just walk in and say, I'm a doctor right now, and I'm about to start working on it. That ain't going to work. You're going to be like, man. Oh, look, man, you just walked off the street. You ain't about to do this. Because, hey, it takes a process of you learning how to do what you do. So if you want to get up on the covenant of God, you got to go through the process. So this is one of the process. But verse 12.
And he that is 8 days old shall be circumcised among you, every man-child in your generations. He that is born in the house or bought with money of any stranger, which is not of thy seed.
Because, see, you will have some people these days, they'll tell you, well, that's just for the Jews. That's not for, hey, he's telling you right here, even a stranger. But you got to understand, hey, this is the covenant of God. See, you can't just say, oh, that's for them. This is for God. People say these things all the time, idly speaking, saying words that don't make sense. They'll say, oh, that's circumcised. You don't really have to do that. That was just the Jews back then. That was back then, brother. You don't have to do that. Well, back then it said, don't kill and don't steal. Was that just for the Jews too? So I can rob you and kill you. Dude, I can kill you, brother. That was just for the Jews. That was back then now. I can kill you now. It's legal. See, it don't make no sense. People don't think about the things that they say. They just be talking. You have to have some understanding of what you're saying and what you're doing. You idly speaking, don't have no background, but then again, we know where it comes from. Because that same old lie, everybody say that, oh, that's done away with. Dude, you just repeating what somebody done lied to you and told you. You're going to mess yourself up. You need to get some do some reading and make sure you understand exactly what it is that you're doing. Verse 13. 13? Yes, 13. Yeah, 9 and 13, right?
Okay. He that is born in thy house, and he that is bought with thy money, must needs be circumcised. And my covenant shall be in you, in your flesh, for an everlasting covenant.
So, hey, if you bought, you must need. It needs to be done. This have to be done. This is not a request of, if you think like it, this is part of being God. And the thing, keep in mind, people, it's what God is giving you. You getting something from him, so he's telling you the process on which way you have to go to get it. But go ahead, 14.
And the uncircumcised man-child, whose flesh of his foreskin is not circumcised, that soul shall be cut off from his people. He hath broken my covenant.
So he's telling you, hey, if you don't do it, you cut off. And we're going to find out God don't change. There's a way you're supposed to react and be. You have to be that way. If you go outside of that, it's going to be a problem. And that's with anything. Any job you do in this world, anything you do from day to day, if you decide to do something different, I'm an electrician by trade. I got apprentices working under me. I tell them to do a certain thing a certain way. If they deviate from that certain way, they might kill themselves, get electrocuted. This is the proper way to do this. You go outside of that, you're going to hurt yourself. And it's the same way with God. God got a way you have to follow. If you decide not to follow that way, you're going to hurt yourself. And trust me, you probably rather get electrocuted than to deal with the Lord. I'm just letting you know. But let's move further. Let's go to Jeremiah 4. He's going to let you know as far as what the circumcision is all about. See, it's like I said before, it's not just some idle speaking, some idle talking, or just some ritual we want you to go through because, it's just for, no, it's a reason for these rituals. The Lord have things set up. He got all his holy days that man had done away with, came up with holidays. I say it all the time. All they did, it's a corruption of holy day. They just took away the Y, eye to eye, and called it a day. That's all they did. And started their own doctrine. Would the Lord have all his holy days set up, which most of these holidays, have no meaning behind it. But the Lord holy days have meanings behind it. And it's directly towards you becoming God and directly towards you learning how to walk the right way. So get some understanding of that. So when you talk about dealing with the circumcision, in and of itself, it's showing you something. And we're going to read it here. Jeremiah 4, and pick up at verse 3. 4 and 3. Go ahead, my brother.
For thus saith the Lord to the men of Judah and Jerusalem, break up your fallow ground, and sow not among thorns.
So he's telling them, hey, make sure you get your mind right and get things going the right way. He uses an analogy of like you planting in the ground and all that because you're producing fruit and you're supposed to produce good fruit. So that's why we say break up. That's what you do. You break up and get started. But go ahead, verse 4.
Circumcise yourselves to the Lord, and take away the foreskins of your heart.
Notice he said right here, take away the foreskins of your heart. You need to get your mind right. Because this is the covenant of God, right? So if you take away he's telling you to take away, clean that stuff up. Just like the circumcision, physically. Because you're coming up under the covenant of God. So you got to get your head right. When he say heart, he's talking about your mind. Go ahead.
Ye men of Judah and inhabitants of Jerusalem, lest my fury come forth like fire and burn that none can quench it, because of the evil of your doing.
And that's what we got to look forward to in our days. Because a lot of times you read this stuff and you see that, you're like, woo, that was in Jeremiah day. Woo! I'm glad we ain't got to worry about that now. No, hellfire's coming. So you need to circumcise your mind. Because right now, you're getting into the last days where it's like plenty of trouble going on. It's going to be worse than the world has ever seen during your time. Just especially for you. So you got to get your mind together. Even when the apostles say in Matthew 24, it was actually about the end of the time, they wanted to know. These days, people don't even know nothing about it, don't even care, ain't even thought about it. And then you need to know now. Because hey, this hellfire, hey, it's coming to a city near you. So you got to get your mind right. Well, let's move forward. You ready for it?
Yes.
Okay, let's move forward. Let's go to Romans. So you need to circumcise your mind, get your mind together. Romans chapter 9. Romans chapter 9. And pick it up at verse 1. 9 and 1. Go ahead, my brother.
I say the truth in Christ. I lie not. My conscience also bearing me witness in the Holy Ghost.
So he's saying, hey, I'm giving you the truth right now. I'm letting you know exactly what it is. And what he going to say? What? Go ahead, verse 2.
That I have great heaviness and continual sorrow in my heart.
Now this is Paul speaking. And he's telling you something. Go ahead.
For I could wish that myself were accursed from Christ for my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh.
So now you get a lot of people. I didn't talk to people before. And they didn't told me things like, yeah, I see, brother. I see you read the book, I even had some Gentiles tell me, what, can I ask you a question? I'm like, go ahead. Why? I see that, but it's all about them. It's all about the Jews. You don't speak about no other people. What about the rest of the people? People got to understand it's not about an individual thing. That's what you feel. It's about God. When you talk about Israel, it's about to understand that, hey, that's God's name. These are God's people, which we're going to find out. We're going to read it. And we all come under the banner of God. That's what it's all about. It's not about, what about the Latin people? Or, what about the people, the Europeans? Or what about, the Eastern, the Asians? What about that? No, it ain't about, it's about, what about God? Israel just happened to be, we saw it came up under the token that God chose, right? And he started right there. And also we're going to find out that Israel is God's name. So we're not going up under, it's not when you talk about they put a name called Judaism, or they say Mosaic law. But when you start reading everything, you find it come out, that stuff is just come straight from God. These are God's laws. Israel was the first to take hold to it, but it's God's stuff. So when you say you're latching on, you read stuff like Paul said he wished he was a curse for his people, because everybody got to come through this way, because this is the way and the path that God set up. You have to go through Israel. But then if you go through Israel, you think, I'm going through the people. No, you're going through God, because that's God's name. And we'll find that out. But let's finish. Where you at? What verse you at?
Verse 4.
Go ahead, brother.
Who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption, and the glory, and the covenants, and the giving of the law, and the service of God, and the promise.
See, this is who it is. You come to find out, say, who are the Israelites? He's telling you. He's giving you that question. He said, to whom pertaineth the adoption? They was adopted. They got the name, which we're going to find that out. And the glory, and the covenant. We seen the covenant came through Abraham. It went from Abraham, Isaac to Jacob. And it went on down from there for the children of Israel. People wonder, hey, it went from Abraham to Jacob. Hey, after Jacob, it got changed. His name was changed, which came under the banner of God's name, which you're going to find out. He said, and the covenant and the giving of the law. That's what happens when it was in the wilderness. They got the law. And then it said, and the service of God and the promises, the promise to come. So this is the way, this is the path that God chose to go. If we all supposed to be obedient, we all supposed to love God, believe in God, and do what God say, this is the path you must go through. And it's not like Israel is special within itself. It's only special because it comes from God. And they're a priest nation to teach all the sons of Adam. We're going to find that out as we read on. Those are the things what make Israel special within itself, because it's about God. Not that they, better than all the other people in the world. This is the oracles was given to them. And this is the order on which you must go to learn about God. Just the way you start somewhere, you should start it there. We all have to follow under the patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and the 12 apostles. 12 tribes of Israel. We got to follow through that way. And you can see that, like I said, 12 apostles. But yeah, that's the order in which God had everything set up. He set it up under that because it was 12 tribes. He had 12 apostles. We're gonna see all that lining up. But let's go further. Let's go back to Genesis. This is the way you must go. This is the way to get to God. You know how you have a way you would learn anything. You have a booklet on how and which way you go. But this book here is giving you a path to understand how to serve the true and living God. And this is the way you must go. Because a lot of people have a problem when you talk about Israel. They have a problem getting under that banner. You have a problem with that, you have a problem getting up under God. God chose this way. And this is the way you must learn. Genesis 22. Genesis 22. Pick it up at verse 15. 22 and 15. Go ahead, my brother.
And the angel of the Lord called unto Abraham out of heaven the second time, and said, By myself have I sworn, saith the Lord, for because thou hast done this thing, and hast not withheld thy son, thine only son.
Because the Lord had him. He was going to be, and Abraham told him he was going to sacrifice Isaac. And since he was going to do it because he was obedient to God, he listened. And that's what it's all about. It's always been that. It's always been about being obedient. And if you look at the things and really think in your mind, when you talk about being obedient, you have to be obedient like when you're in school. When you're in class trying to learn something, you have to listen to them and do what they tell you. Because if you don't listen to them and do what they tell you, you're going to get this thing called an F, a failing grade. So obviously you have to pay attention. But now this is life and death here on your eternal soul, so you should take this more serious. So you have to pay attention on it. So in 15, he said, read 15 again.
And the angel of the Lord called unto Abraham out of heaven the second time.
So he called. Go ahead. What did he say?
And said, By myself have I sworn, saith the Lord, for because thou hast done this thing, and hast not withheld thy son.
So he said, you since you've done this, and you didn't withhold your son, but go ahead.
Thy only son, that in blessing I will bless thee, and in multiplying I will multiply thy seed as the stars of heaven, as the stars of the heaven, and as the sand which is upon the seashore. And thy seed shall possess the gate of his enemies.
So he's telling you, he letting him know, hey, you're going to have a lot. And he does. Yeah, he has a lot of nations, you know, and actually have a lot of respect because you see the Arabs, they come through that way. He actually was his first son. And so forth and so on. You see that. So he has a bunch of nationalities. Moabites, they come through there. Obviously Israel. You know, it continues on and on. Even from his son Isaac, where they had Jacob and Israel, and Jacob and Israel is Jacob, but Jacob and Esau. You see that come through there, but that came from Isaac. So, and Esau, that's a whole nother nation. But nonetheless, he gets the sand of the sea. It's a lot of. But go ahead, read that last verse.
And in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed, because thou hast obeyed my voice.
So now if you get up under that covenant, he's telling you that all nations gonna be blessed. He's telling you all nations, but you have to go this way. This is the way you must go. It ain't about, somebody being favoritism or taking side. It's about the order of God and the way it must happen. So if you want to get under that banner, this is the way you're going to get up under that. You have to go according to the way the Lord had it set up, which is through Israel. Let's go to Genesis 32. Genesis 32. And we're going to pick it up at verse 24. Because this is basically letting you know, hey, this is right here showing you when that adoption actually took place, when Jacob's name was changed. 24, I spoke on it a few times, but we're going to read it now. Genesis 32 and 24. Go ahead, my brother.
And Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day.
So he was left by himself, and he wrestled with a man. We're going to find out about this man. Go ahead, 25.
And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint.
So he touched him. He just touched him because it was an angel he was wrestling with, and he touched the hollow of his thigh, and it just came out of joint. But then this is what Jacob said, 26.
And he wrestled with him, and he said, Let me go, for the day breaketh, And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me.
So he said, I'm not letting you go unless you bless me. But go ahead.
And he said unto him, What is thy name? And
So
so
he asked him his name. Go ahead.
And he said, Jacob. And he said, Thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel.
So he's saying, your name is not to be called no more Jacob, but Israel. But go ahead.
For as a prince hast thou power with God and with men, and hast prevailed.
So he's letting you know. He said, hey, you a prince. That's what Israel means. So he said, you have a power with God and with man. So that covenant came, maybe like Jacob, all the way down. He's letting you know, hey, this is the order on which you may go. His name was changed right here. Just like you would do with any adoption, with anybody, you change their name. So he's getting under that banner of God. But let's go further. Let's go to Genesis 35. Let's go over one chapter. Genesis 35. Pick it up at verse 9. 35 and 9. Go ahead.
And God appeared unto Jacob again when he came out of Padanaram and blessed him.
Go ahead.
And God said unto him, Thy name is Jacob. Thy name shall not be called any more Jacob, but Israel shall be thy name. And he called his name Israel.
And he said, hey, from this point on, you're going to be Israel. But go ahead.
And God said unto him, I am God Almighty. Be fruitful and multiply. A nation and a company of nations shall be of thee, and kings shall come out of thy loins.
So he's letting you know, hey, kings going to come. But go ahead.
And the land which I gave Abraham and Isaac, to thee I will give it.
So he's going from Abraham, Isaac, and then to Israel. He said, to thee will I give it. And what?
And to thy seed after thee will I give the land.
So he tell him, hey, to your seed after thee, I'm gonna give you the land. Now you know this is way before Moses. But it's just letting you know, hey, that was the covenant that was made, and it was passed down. And this is the way with what we must walk. If you want to be a part of God, this is the way you walk. So that's why you say, why Israel? Because Israel is a part of God, and this is the path we must take. But go ahead, 13.
And God went up from him in the place where he talked with him.
So and then God left from that point. But let's go to Isaiah 47. Isaiah 47. We're going to find out something here. Isaiah 47. And we're going to read that verse, one verse. Verse 4. 47 and 4. Go ahead.
As for our Redeemer, the Lord of hosts is his name, the Holy One of Israel.
So now you see, he said, hey, the Redeemer, the Lord of hosts is his name. Who is, well, he read that again?
As for our Redeemer, the Lord of hosts is his name. The Holy One of Israel.
He's the Holy One of Israel. See, that's when you start to get some understanding exactly what this thing is. See, a lot of people want to try to separate stuff. That's Satan. He want to have all these different, that's why you got all these Christian religions, but you got all these different denominations. We do it this way, you do it that way, we do it this way. We all gonna get into the kingdom together, brother. We all gonna, it's about peace, it's about love, brother. You like keeping up strife. Why can't we all get along? No, we ain't getting along. Because it ain't about me. It ain't about my religion. See, that's what people want. They want to separate religion and you do it your way, I do it my way. It ain't about that. I don't care about my religion. I don't care about your religion. We need to care about what God has for us. See, once you start thinking like that, then you can get past all that talking about peace and all that. Because there's only one way to go. There's only one Lord, one faith, one baptism. And it's only one God, which we're going to read. And if it's only one way, then we need to go the way that God has set up for us. Nothing else. The pure, uncut way. Let's just walk that way. The earth would be a better place if we all walked that way. You know, I was at an electrical part counter, talking to a Polish guy. You know, he knew a little something. He didn't know too much about the book, but he knew one thing. He told me, he was like, James, you know, it's all pagan. All that holiday, all that's pagan stuff. It's pagan rituals that they brought. He know that stuff. And I'm like, why would you even want to do it? But then again, if they're not being taught the way God had it set up, and since the priests, which is Israel, didn't do their job, the whole world is lost. And since the Catholic decided they wanted to try to be the priest, look where we at right now. I mean, look at us. We waiting on statues to move, bleeding. We going into a telephone booth like Superman. I mean, this is crazy. Speaking to another man who's corrupt, asking him for forgiveness and not God. I mean, just come on. And we have no, I'm telling you, and it's amazing because you go back after you've been in the worldly system, worldly churches, knowledge of the worldly churches. You get some knowledge and understanding in there. You go back and look at that stuff. You was totally in the darkness. They jumping around. Look at them. They basically doing the jig that's supposed to be a Holy Ghost. You looking at them now. Back then you was like, man, these people, man, they must be holy. Ooh. There's something wrong with them people. That's what you do when you done lost your mind. Because even when you think about it, when you look at a movie, you see somebody doing that, you be like, man, that person got the Exodus in them. They got the devil in them. But we ain't been taught nothing. So we don't have no understanding that that's foolishness. You are totally lost. So this is what happened. So that's why he said his name was, as for our Redeemer, the Lord of hosts is his name, the Holy One of Israel, because once you start to deviate from that, you're going to be lost somewhere doing something crazy. But let's move forward. Let's go to Leviticus 22. I mean, it's a sad day, though, because once you start to get a little bit of knowledge, you start to understand that you was going the wrong way. You look back and say, I don't know how in the heck I didn't even go to church that much. But even the time I went, I don't even know how I even saw and be able to stand to see that. You can't even see it on TV. You try to watch it. Well, let me see what they teach it. It's like, you can't hardly take it. You need to understand what they're doing so you can help educate the people. But man, it's just like elementary stuff. I remember when I was trying to find God, when I first got into the truth, I went to the wrong church. Me and my wife, we went to the wrong church, and I was in there, and it was during the Wednesday. Sometimes you go in because, Bible class, they have Wednesday, night services. So we went in there, and hey, they was in there, and the questions they was asking, brother, I mean, it was like, question was like, so where? Let me tell you, where did Eve come from? And I was like, I knew that. I felt like a scholar, and then I ain't even never. We were like, it came from the rib. Good answer. Great answer. That was the extent of knowledge. I'm serious. That was the extent of it. That was like, he wanted to give me a reward for that. And my wife, oh bless her soul, she was like, I like this church. I was like, this ain't it. This ain't it. Nah. We went to the wrong building. But in my mind, I didn't know because, I'm looking for the traditional church. So you go that route because you're just looking for that. And, then I finally found the truth. They was in a little storefront like type of building, it didn't look like a church. And I was like, nah, this is it. When I got in there, the brothers had locks. They was reading books. I said, this is it. This is what I'm talking about. I saw Israel. I want to know about Israel. That's where I'm at. So then my mind changed. Then I was like, yeah, this is it. But then you had somebody in the back, one of the brothers was like, I was reading out of NIV. And, one of the brothers had to scream. Why he do that? He had to scream out the back. Throw that Bible away. That was all the ammunition my wife did. She was like, I'm done. I was like, what about the brother who's speaking with knowledge right here? She was like, nah, he told me to throw my book away. He in the audience. He ain't even teaching. But hey, you looking for something. But I knew. I said, this is it. We going there.
Right.
So praise God on that. I'm like, he preaches the truth because that little rib stuff ain't going to work. I can get that rib stuff at a beef barbecue joint. I'll go there and get some ribs. They ain't talking about nothing. Let's go further. Leviticus 22. Leviticus 22 and pick it up at 31. 22 and 31. Go ahead, brother.
Therefore shall ye keep my commandments and do them. I am the Lord.
And that's what we all need. To be obedient and keep his commandments and do them. 32.
Neither shall ye profane my holy name.
He said, don't profane my holy name. Because they took on the name, right? Jacob took on the name Israel. And he said, I'm the Holy One of Israel, right? So he's telling you that. He said, neither shall you profane his holy name. And what's that? But what?
But I will be hallowed among the children of Israel. I am the Lord which hallowed you.
So he said, hey, don't profane my holy name. What name is that? Israel. Don't profane it. Because, hey, if you don't do what you're supposed to, then guess what? They're going to say, hey, look at God's people, Israel. So he said, hey, don't profane my name. Do what you're supposed to do. Don't break my covenant. Don't break my commandments and statutes and my judgment. Do what you're supposed to do. But obviously we didn't do that. But go ahead.
That brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am the Lord.
So he said, hey, I brought you out. Don't profane my name. Because, hey, when you don't do what you're supposed to, all the other people look. And that ain't nothing new. You see that even today. You know, because all your familiars wait for you to do something wrong anyway. So it ain't nothing new. You started to do right. I know I was talking to my mom, you know, I started to do right. She looking for something. They waiting for you to do something wrong. You know? They don't even know the law if you even did anything wrong. They just know it looked like you did something wrong. But then again, hey, that's what they want. They think because they got that little theory like, you know, you can't really do all that. You can't. Hey, I'm going to try to do the best I can. I'm not going to just sit back and not try. So that's what you try to do. You try to do what you're supposed to. But then again, hey, that's what happens right there. That's why he said, verse 32, neither shall you profane my holy name, because it's God's name. But he said, I will be hollow among the children of Israel. And I am the Lord which hollows you. Yeah, if you take on God's name, that's what it is. That's holy. God is holy. So you need to do what you're supposed to do. And obviously those are laws and statutes, commandments he gave to Israel. We brought them out of the land of Egypt. Let's go further. Let's go to Deuteronomy 32. See, it's bigger than just you saying just Israel. It's bigger than that. Because once we started to see, hey, that's God's name, and we started to see we come up under the banner of God. And this is how the whole world's set up. Just like it's 12 hours in a day and 12 hours a night, it's set up. It's 12 apostles. All that is set up around Israel. People think, oh, that's too much. They told them, they be like, what? That's too. Dude, you don't understand God's plan. It's all centered because that's him. This is about God. So when you start to see that, you understand. He's set up in that way. And we're going to read it. Deuteronomy 32. And pick it up at verse 7. 32 and 7. Go ahead, brother.
Remember the days of old. Consider the years of many generations. Ask thy father, and he will show thee. Thy elders, and they will tell thee.
See, that's what we've gone a long way from that. Hey, because our elders don't know nothing about that. But hey, we starting to praise God, and we starting to wake up and getting some knowledge. I had some strong teachers show me and give me some knowledge and understanding, and I'm able to pass that on to my children. Praise God.
Sir.
Verse 8.
When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam.
Hold up. He separated the sons of Adam, right? So what does that mean? Everybody come through there, right? So he's talking about everybody. He said he told Abraham he gonna make a blessed nation to all nations, right? You're blessed to all the nations, right? So if you're a blessing to all the nations, he's letting you know something right here. He said, when the Most High divided the nation in their hands, he said, when I gave everybody their thing, he said, when I separate the sons of Adam, that means everybody, right? He did what?
He set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel.
See, he did. And, I was talking to one of the Muslim guys, not these Farrakhan fake Muslims. No, not them. I was talking to some guys that was actually from over there. And those brothers, I was speaking with them, and I told him, and he was shocked, because I told him, I said, yeah, it's 12 Arabic nations. He was like, 12 Arabic nations? I'm like, yeah, it's 12 Arabic nations. He's like, right, brother. But they call you cuz, though. You cousin. After that, I was cousin from that point on. Cuz. But I understood that, and he knew that. But how I read that in the book. It tell you it's 12 Arabic nations, 12 princes. So when you read that, you get some knowledge. See, this book, man, it's not just some fairy tale writing that people just have going on just to have some good talking. No, this ain't about good talk. This is about truth. You can line this up with the world today. So when I did that, he was shocked. He was like, man, I was cousin from that point on, I'm telling you. But because you have some knowledge. So he set the bounds up at that. What verse did I read that verse again?
When the Most High divided to the nations
Go
their
ahead.
inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel.
It goes down that line. But then again, it's not about, we can find out now, it ain't just about Israel. It's about God, and that's the way you must go. So we already got that established. But go ahead, finish that.
For the Lord's portion is his people. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance.
So he's telling you, hey, this is the way you must go. He said, for the Lord portion is his people, and Jacob is the lot of his inheritance. This is the line. Because all the sons of Adam we read, right? This is the way all the sons of Adam must go. So it ain't about just Israel, because a lot of times you read, oh, that's the way it is. They got, you practice Judaism, we do Christians. Hey man, the first Christians was Jews. And that happened in Antioch. So what do you mean this is just your way? No, that ain't what it is. And they got it separate, but it shouldn't be that way. There's only one God. This is the way you must go. So he said, for the Lord portion is his people, and Jacob is the lot of his heritage. Verse 10.
He found him in a desert land, and in the waste howling wilderness.
And that's what happened in the wilderness, right? But go ahead.
He led him about. He instructed him. He kept him as the apple of his eye.
And that's what people fail to understand. See, they just want to just do away with Israel, which we're going to find out. You can't do that. Because if you do away with Israel, you're doing away with God. This ain't about just a people setting up stuff. See, that's where everybody went wrong. And they right about that part. Because all that other stuff, that Methodists and Catholics, that's some man-made up. That's all man-made. So they think that Israel or Judaism is just something man-made up. How they practice it now probably is. But it wasn't like that from the beginning. It came straight from God. It's not man-made up. And once you start to understand that, then you understand how this thing's supposed to go. But let's move further. You finished that, right? Mm-hmm. Because he kept him at his apple of his eye. Let's go to Romans. Because, right now, hey, basically you talk to Rome now, they say, hey, the banner's passed. You start reading how did the Catholic Church get involved in this thing and so-called become the priest. They tell you this foolishness, like that's why they got called and over there, St. Petersburg, like the torch was passed on. If you read in a lot of these other religions, because they can't deny the fact that when you start dealing with Israel, it came from the beginning. So you can't really deviate from that. Because you go back, you can see when their religion started. Like 300 and something, you had the Arabic, Muslim, with Muhammad and all that stuff. But what about before that? What was they doing before all that? How did all that come on deck after that? How did this stuff come? And then they got a reason for it. If you talk to some of the people that tell you, I talked to a Muslim guy. He told me. He said, yeah, Jesus, when he was doing all that traveling, he was going around, from different places. He was looking. He was looking for Allah, his cousin. That's his spin on it. That's their spin, because you got to come from somewhere. Because it was with Israel. They all don't deny that. Even the books of the Quran, they got some books of Moses in there. So when you read that, you see that. That's it, because you got to come from somewhere. You can't just pop out of nowhere. And they know that. He said, he was waiting. He was walking around looking for it, and he kind of like passed the baton. And then that's the same thing the Catholic did. They came up, when you read up on their stuff, they say the same. They say, oh yeah, Peter, he was the first pope. Peter was the first pope. So he passed the baton. Peter did. He passed it. He the first pope, so he passed it on. And that couldn't be further from the truth. Peter was the same one Paul had to check because he got up away from the Gentiles when he was talking to him. So you going to pass you the baton? No, but that's what happened. That's what happened. Stuff started to go left. It goes left. But let's go further. Let's go. Where we at? Deuteronomy, Romans 11. When you ain't watching, some stuff slip in the back door. Romans 11, and pick it up at verse 1. 11, 1. Go ahead, brother. This is basically what they were saying. Because hey, Israel, the 10 tribes was pretty much, all gone in slavery. And, Israel, for the most part, was scattered. So basically, Paul started to bring other nationalities, which we call Gentiles. You want to read that Genesis 10, we ain't got time to read everything to understand who is who, nationhood, all that. That's just straight knowledge you could get from this book right here that people want to read and say it's so-called fairy tale. Trust me, I was talking to a brother. Oh, man, I blow your mind. I was on the job site this week talking to a brother. And I don't even know how we even got to this point. But I'm sitting up here trying to do something, and I like to hear people out just to see what they say. I got a couple, most of the cats that work with me, most of the cats are in the Word, some from IOG, most of them from IOG. I'm the only one from Israel Church of Jesus. But hey, we all on the same bound. So we had another brother came in, and he was talking, and he was saying some crazy stuff. I was like, man, this dude done lost his mind. And I'm just listening to him. He's talking about, you know about Adam and Eve. And I'm like, yeah, Adam and Eve, that's God made. No, brother. I mean, he had one of those, Russell Crowe movie, Beautiful Mind. He had one of them minds. He was talking about Adam is Adam. A-T-O-M, Adam. Eve means evolution, brother. So you don't know. I'm looking at this dude like, man, this brother done lost his mind. And he had a lot of philosophy. Some of that brother talk that you would do when you're on the corner drinking wine. He had one of those conversations. I'm like, brother, he's talking smooth talking. I'm like, dude, that's some vain philosophy you talking about something. He was getting crazy too. He started talking about Gentiles come from monkeys. And I'm like, dude, I was done. I was so done with him, I was cracking jokes while he was trying to talk. He's still talking. I'm cracking jokes. One of the young brothers, he was like, why is he still talking? You laughing at this dude. I really was. Because I just knew he was just gone. There was no reason with him or nothing. He was like, we actually, because one of the brothers, he was like, do you believe in the Bible? He was like, yeah, I believe in the Bible. So then he started talking about the Bible. Then he said, but what about Adam and Eve? He went through that evolution thing, right? And then right after that, you know what he did? He was like, that's just children's stories, brother. He was like, man, didn't I just say if you believe in the Bible? Now he talking about children's stories. Hey, his mind was gone. He's gone. You can't even talk to him. That's why the Lord say, hey, the harlots and the guys, the publicans, they gonna get in before these. His mind, you couldn't even talk to him and tell him nothing. But then again, hey, that's what happened when your mind goes. So he said, verse 1, he said, I say then, have God cast away his people? God forbid. For what?
For I also am an Israelite of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin.
See, even Rome right back then was already on this cusp of doing away. Because he wouldn't have to make this statement. This statement wouldn't have to be made what they was thinking like, hey, they gone, so we can step in the cut. Hey, wrong answer. You're going to be at that Viaduct, worshiping the stain. But then go ahead.
God hath not cast away his people which he foreknew. What ye not what the scripture saith of Elias, how he maketh intercession to God against Israel, saying, Lord, they have killed thy prophets and digged down thine altars, and I am left alone, and they seek my life.
Now, we weren't supposed to read that, but it all go hand in hand. It all goes hand in hand because, hey, this is how the Lord have things set up. This is how it is. No, we are supposed to be, I'm sorry. This is where he got it set up. But go ahead.
But what said the answer of God unto him? I have reserved to myself 7,000 men who have not bowed the knee to the image of Baal.
So he is always a remnant. And we can see that even today, that it's a remnant, because I wouldn't be up here speaking to you right now. I wouldn't know nothing about this. So Lord, still his words are true speaking. It's always somebody when you don't know, because before I ain't even never heard about no Israel. But then, look, they around. But if you don't have knowledge to know, you don't know where you need to be. But go ahead. Verse 5.
Even so then, at this present time also, there is a remnant according to the election of grace. And if by grace, then it is no more of works. Otherwise, grace is no more grace. But if it be of works, then it is no more grace. Otherwise, work is no more work.
Go ahead.
What then? Israel hath not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election hath obtained it, and the rest were blinded.
So that's what happened. That's exactly how it is even to this day. Most of us is blind. But go ahead.
According as it is written, God hath given them the spirit of slumber, eyes that they should not see, and ears that they should not hear unto this day.
If you don't know if this ain't the truth or not, if you don't believe me, go out there and get the average brother and sister and tell them they Israel. They're going to tell you, I ain't no Israel. They don't want to hear none of that. They telling you what time it is. But the truth is right here. It's telling you that. He's telling you right here. He said, verse 8, according to as it's written, God had given them a spirit of slumber and eyes. That's why they slumber. He said, slumber and eyes that they should not see, and ears that they should not hear unto this day. They can't even hear. And it is unto this day. Verse 9.
And David said, let their table be made a snare, and a trap, and a stumbling block, and a recompense unto them.
Yeah, and you are high, you start to get into that mindset. You know, that mindset, because when you try to talk to somebody and they don't want to hear, you say, hey, it is what it is. I'm trying to show you and you don't want it. Let it be that way. Because obviously you don't, because people, this is not something like we practice in a religion just to be practicing something. And forget, just take out the title of everything. The book is righteous. We all know that. You ask the average person, they go tell you, yeah, that's the good book. If you do that, things is good. So why do we have a problem doing it? That just goes to show you, you want to be evil. Because the book is righteous. Ain't nobody going to say this is evil. So why won't we do it? You ask yourself that. If you know the book is righteous and you don't want to do it, what does that make you? Go ahead, brother.
And a recompense unto them. Let their eyes be darkened, that they may not see, and bow down their back always.
So you don't know this God. If you decide that you don't want to deal with something, God will make sure you can't hear, see, and mess you up. See, they don't teach this God. They teach God love you always. He's always there for you. He's going to come to the church. I'm going to come to the church. No matter what you've done, come. Lord loves you. He loves you. That ain't what I'm hearing here. He said, if you don't want to listen, I'm going to make sure you can't hear, you can't see, so that you can go the wrong way. But go ahead. He said, let their eyes be darkened that they may not see, and bow their backs backwards away. See, so you're going the wrong way. Verse 11.
I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? God forbid. But rather, through their fall, salvation is come to the Gentiles, for to provoke them to jealousy.
Hey, because at first, they weren't even permitted to speak to any other nationality. But now the time is that, and Israel don't listen. Hey, God said, hey, move on. Verse 12.
Now, if the fall of them be the riches of the world, and the diminishing of them the riches of the Gentiles, how much more their fullness?
Yeah, because that's the order which we read, right? We got an order why Israel. We went down the line. Why that? So, hey, the world will be a better place. Why? Because we're going through the order of what God has set up. 13.
For I speak to you Gentiles, inasmuch as I am the apostle of the Gentiles. I magnify mine office.
So you can look up here and say, man, Paul boasting here. Hey, he's just letting you know what's due. He magnifies his office, but what is his office? His office is, you would think that you would say, man, that's a lot of boasting and pride over there. He magnified himself over the Gentiles. No, he's just letting you know, hey, this is the order in which it is. So, of course, I'm on there. I'm on there. This is, hey, he's dealing with the Jews first. That's the way God chose it. But then he's dealing with Israel, and Israel is God. So if you come through that, then you come through God's kingdom. You're coming through the way of God. So you're not under Israel, you're under God. This is all you're doing. So when he say he magnifies his office is the office of God, right? Yes, sir. Paul ain't went out and got his own office and said, follow this way, right? He said he magnified his office, but when he say he magnified, what does he magnify? God's office. So you fall under God's order, which they obviously didn't do, because you know they went left, right? But go ahead.
If by any means I may provoke to emulation them which are my flesh, and might save some of them.
He said, hey, and through this, hey, you may save some of them because of, him turning over to the Gentile. Maybe they might start to hear. But go ahead.
For if the casting away of them be the reconciling of the world, what shall the receiving of them be but life from the dead?
So he said, hey, if the casting away of them be the reconciling of the world, what should it be? Because, hey, it ain't going to be nothing but greatness because it's God's way, right? 16.
For if the first fruit be holy, and the lump is also, if the first fruits be holy, the lump is also holy. And if the root be holy, so are the branches.
So he's telling you, hey, they started it out. But then you can't deviate from that because it comes from God. And then you can't deviate that because he set the bounds up according to the 12 tribes of Israel, right? All the sons of Adam. This is the way God has it set up. This is the way it's supposed to be. He lined it up that way. And we all just got to follow suit. 17.
And if some of the branches were broken off, and thou, being a wild olive tree, wert grafted in among them, and with them partakest of the root and fatness of the olive tree, boast not against the branches.
Now you see this. You can see right now they didn't destroy the branches. You know, they didn't get past that point. But hey, he's letting them know, don't get beside yourself. But we already know what happened, right? So we live in a time that they didn't just get beside themselves. They didn't just took over due order. But then again, hey, they've been taking a lot of stuff that Israel been doing. You can see somebody with patented, designs and all that, just give it to me. Music, give it to me. We did that. But when you come to this word, they try to take that. See, you can take a lot of stuff when it ain't pertaining to God. We were slaves. They just took whatever we did, just take it from them. But then when it comes to the word, they feel like, hey, we've been taking all that. We just take this too, right? Nope. And it ain't going to work because it comes from God. So he ain't going to allow you to do it the right way. You cannot teach the word of God without dealing with Israel because that's God's word. You can't deviate from it. And they try to deviate, it passed us or we ain't about that. But if you ain't about that, common sense said, then you ain't about God. Because if you change anything and do something different, then it's different. That's just simplicity. It's just that simple. You ain't got to think too much. If you decide to design a way where you're going to do something aside from that, but yet you're going to say it's holy, it ain't about holiness, then you're about your own agenda. Then you going down, you bowing down, and you giving 3, 4, 5 Hail Marys. You doing a little cross symbol across your forehead. You getting that little ash stuff on your forehead. So you're doing something totally different. You ain't a priest of God. But see, God ain't going to allow you to do it that way. It will not stand. I don't care how you do it. You know what I mean? Here's some Gentiles try to teach this thing and do it, and it will not stand. It's going to fall because God got a certain order. And we got to do it that due order. Take a lot of stuff, you ain't getting this. That's just the way it is. But go ahead. He said right here, 18, boast not. Go ahead.
Boast not against the branches. But if thou boast, thou bearest not the root, but the root thee.
Yeah, see, if you boast, hey, you ain't even growing. That's like a tree giving you an analogy on the tree. He's letting you know. You can see with a tree, Hey, if any of the branches don't be tied to the root, they're gonna die. So you tied to God. And if you don't do it the way God said, you're gonna die. And that's what's happening. The whole world is groaning because, hey, they have no knowledge of God because they done away with the priest of God. So with you putting your foot on Israel's neck, that's going to mess you up. Because, hey, he said he was apple of his eye, right? So now you taking that away, you just pushing yourself further away from God. Because there's only one way to go. If you don't go through Israel, you do not get it. That's just it. You go get something, but it ain't going to be of God. Plain and simple. But go ahead, 19.
Thou wilt say then, the branches were broken off, that I might be grafted in.
Yeah, so they thinking, oh, we just replacing you. See, that's the mindset of how Peter passed it to us. Got passed it to us. He's telling you what they was going to do. This is exactly what they did. They said Peter was the first pope. He passed it on. And that's what they said right here. Read that again.
Thou wilt say then, the branches were broken off, that I might be grafted in.
Yeah, so he passed it over to us. So that's all it was. He passed the baton to us. I'm in. 20.
Well, because of unbelief they were broken off, and thou standest by faith. Be not high-minded, but fear.
He said, hey, you better watch yourself. We already know what's going to be the end outcome of them, right? Watch yourself. He said, don't be high-minded, but fear. Read that last verse.
For if God spared not the natural branches, take heed, lest he also spare not thee.
I don't know why in the world people think you're going to do whatever you want to do when it comes to God. You got another thing coming. This God do not play. He's a terrible God. Probably never heard that. When I first hear stuff like that, you go to church You always hear pleasant things and smooth things. Like the scripture say, prophesy in the seat. Tell me, make me feel good, brother. My mom told me that. I was just telling her about the book. Like, you shouldn't go over there to that church. There's a church, over there that President Obama supposedly went to. She went over there. Pastor, you're right. I just go. I'm telling about the book and the laws and all that. She wasn't trying to hear. She already got half her ear closed. She want to get me off her back. So she was like, son, I just go there to feel good. They play the music. I feel good, so I go. Hey, like brother, like you can feel good at the bar. But I didn't say it to my mom, but I don't want to get cut off. You know what I'm saying? I need to live as long as I can because I believe in God. So I didn't go that way. But hey, listen, you want to feel good, you go anywhere. You sit at the bar, you're going to feel real good. But they ain't teaching you nothing. They ain't teaching you nothing. Then when you leave there, you feel right back bad again. It's like putting a Band-Aid over a gunshot wound. It's not helping you, man. But hey, if you got the stumbling, you stumble your eyes, you can't see, and blind your ears, and you can't hear. Hey, it is what it is. So he said, 21, for if God spare not the natural branches, take heed, lest he also not spare these. Hey, take heed. Because it may become a time where he's not going to spare you at all. So you got to keep that in mind. And we can see what's going to happen to that Catholic church that decided to take over and call themselves the priests. They stole and robbed a whole lot of stuff. They stole the wrong thing right there. They got themselves in some serious trouble. Let's go to Zechariah. Zechariah 2. So they think they didn't took it and they the church of God and all that. Hey, we're gonna find out something. Zechariah 2. Pick it up in verse 8. 2 and 8. Go ahead, my brother.
For thus said the Lord of hosts, after the glory hath he sent me unto the nations which spoiled you. For he that toucheth you toucheth the apple of his eye.
So he said, for thus said the Lord of hosts, after glory hath he sent me unto the nations which spoil you. Because they took a whole lot. Did I tell you that? You come up with a song, they say, we invented that. You come up with an invention, how we invented that. Yeah. You come up with anything, they took. Yeah. I mean, it's documented. You can see it. Like, it's mine. Like, what, man? It's like somebody coming in your house and saying, it's my house. What? Yeah, it's mine. But hey, this is what they do, But then again, you was a slave and they feel like you're a slave. And sometimes people wonder, I'll be saying, yeah, I understand how some of that thing. Like, why would you think that? Why would you feel like you understand? Hey, because they bought you. They paid for you. Right. People be like, what? Why would you think they paid for you? So now you're free. And they think like, wait a minute. Wait. What am I going to get out of this? But hey, that's the way it is. But then they went overboard. So he said, for thus said the Lord of hosts, after glory have he sent me to the nations which spoil you. So they say, we didn't took all, tell me he's going to take it all. Wait, like I said, the truth is jumping off the pages here. He said he's going to spoil you. They taking everything. You invent something, I did that. They be in your house. But go ahead. For what?
For behold, I will shake mine hand upon them, and they shall be a spoil to their servants.
So he said, hey, he's going to shake his hand on you. But then he said it was apple of his eye, right? So y'all don't know who y'all playing with. They see, you get go after so much time go along, they think, hey, ain't nothing going to happen. That's not like anything, people do. You try to get away with something that's wrong. You say, hey, man, I got away. You try to get a little more. You hold up. See, like a little kid do. They use a little bit more. You tell them don't do something, they use a little more. They use a little more. Yeah. See if they can get away with it. Well, that's what they did. But they understand. Hey, they got something to pay. You talk about the apple of God's eye. You playing with the wrong person. He says, so behold, I will make them shake my hand upon them, and they should be a spoil to their servants, and what?
And ye shall know that the Lord of hosts hath sent me.
He said, hey, you're going to find out that the Lord sent me. But go ahead, verse 10.
Sing and rejoice, O daughter of Zion, for lo, I come, and I will dwell in the midst of thee, saith the Lord.
So he said, hey, he coming, he going to dwell in the midst of them. Go ahead, brother.
And many nations shall be joined to the Lord in that day, and shall be my people. And I will dwell in the midst of thee, and thou shalt know that the Lord of hosts hath sent me unto thee.
So, hey, see, the Lord of hosts, his name was Israel, right? The Holy One, right? And he said, in that day, many going to dwell there. We see that ain't happening right now. Well, you know it's to come. They're going to dwell. They're going to come there. Because, hey, you coming to God, which is his name. You come to the people. You come to the order on which you're supposed to go. He said in verse 11, he said, many nations shall be joined unto the Lord in that day, and they shall be my people, and I will dwell with them. So he said, y'all going to come and going to be my people. But we read before, he said the strangers too, right? He ain't leaving nobody out. This is about God. That's what people lose their mind because you think it's about you or about your religion, about what you do. This is about God. This ain't made up. All them other gods is false. That's all made up. They ain't no gods. Their religion is false. All those other religions is the devil. I'm going to tell you right now, plain and simple. It's come from the devil himself. Because if you don't come this way, then what way is it come, right? If you ain't serving God, then who are you serving? You just simplicity stuff you just think in your mind. If it's not the way God set up, then what are you doing? But go ahead. Verse 12.
And the Lord shall inherit Judah, his portion, in the Holy Land, and shall choose Jerusalem again.
So he said he's going to choose it again. So they used to be say, oh, that was back then. No, he said, I'm going to choose Jerusalem again. So we're talking about a second time. Verse 13.
Be silent, O all flesh, before the Lord, for he is raised up out of his holy habitation.
But then we read before what Paul said they was just blinded in part. So he's letting you know, hey, they're going to come back. They're going to be coming back. And when he come back, Israel going to be back on top. And it's not like you say, well, why they got to be on top of? Hey, that's just the order God has just set up. Israel itself, hey, that's God. That's the order. You have to be adopted under that. You have to get under that banner of God. He set the bounds up that way. We all have to follow that. Ain't nobody getting left up. You got everybody covered. Trust me. This is just the way it goes. You got Satan come in and he put divisions and different sections and all that. That's why you got all these different denominations and different religions. You got a lot of that foolishness going on. If people want to come up, oh man, you're just downplaying people's stuff. You have no respect for that. No, we supposed to be respecting God. See, you want to get offended for what I'm saying, and really, I should be offended because I'm not even speaking on myself. I'm speaking what God said. That's why we read the book. You have my brother over here reading, solid. He's letting you know. Brother Lee reading solid right now. Hey, it's not my words. We all under the banner of God. We're supposed to go under that one banner, then we should be walking the same way. The scripture says two can't walk together unless they agree, right? So if you ain't walking together, then where you walking? You're not going to end up in the same place. You go your way, I go my way. We all going to get there together. Hey, come on. That don't even make sense. We go that way. You go that way, I'm going to go this way. We're going to meet up. No! You're going to be on the other end of the earth. Come on now. Unless you just keep on walking, you walk all the way around. I'm here now. It may be too late then. Let's go further. Yeah, Jeremiah 16. That got me fired up.
That's all right.
Jeremiah 16. Jeremiah 16. Pick it up at verse 19. 16 and 19. Go ahead, brother.
O Lord, my strength and my fortress, and my refuge in the day of affliction. The Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth, and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanity, and things wherein there is no profit.
So he's telling you, hey, the Gentile, if you start reading Genesis 10, you'll get some knowledge on that and understand who the Gentiles are. And it ain't nothing bad, because, they come up there, you either Jew or you a Gentile. Like the Gentiles just, they want to use the Gentiles as, they just the people who don't know God. Which at the beginning it was that. But that ain't now. But that term shouldn't even be used in that manner. You gotta get some knowledge, man. It ain't about, okay, you a Jew, that means you follow God. You're a Gentile, you don't know God. Nah, that's stupid. I'm gonna make up a word. That's stuplicity. Because when you read Genesis 10, you come to find out that they just the sons of Japheth.
That's right.
That's all it is. Got nothing to do with you don't know God. Which they didn't know that then, but you obviously don't know that now because you think that's some religion. That ain't no religion. That's a nation of people. Come on now. Can somebody wake up and tell me something? So that's just getting the order on which God has it set up. But go ahead, brother. What verse you at?
20.
Go ahead.
Shall a man make gods unto himself, and they are no gods?
And you can see that happen. So let me read verse 19. He said, "Oh, my strength and my fortress and my refuge, the day of affliction, that the Gentiles should come from thee, from the ends of the earth." We know that haven't happened yet, right? They ain't coming from the ends of the earth. And look what the Gentiles say. People, you can see the truth jumping off the page. He said, and they should say, "Surely our fathers haven't heard lies." See? They tell you, hey, look, we heard. This is future stuff. They're not saying that now. Gentiles say they ruined it, right? They supposed to be the priests. They come out, the Lord's telling you, when he come back, they going to say, our father's been lying to us. We ain't got this thing right. We done messed up. And look what he said when he said he messed up. He said what? Right after lies. What did he say?
Vanity.
Vanity. That's all they can do. They put more statues, more emblems up. Dude, it look like a horror store, all those statues. You get through the statues in the front yard, the statues when you go in. All right with the captains, that's why maybe I should want to stay over there with them. Yeah. See, you got to come in, and you tell them, you come in, you got to do the sign. When you come into school, you got to do the Hail Marys. What? But hey, this is stuff. They got vanity, right? He said, should have a live vanity. And things wherein there's what?
No profit.
There's no profit in the stuff you do. You know, you see people in sports, they be doing that. You have to make a touchdown or get a score, they be. And you ain't profiting nothing. You really messing yourself up. Yeah. I be trying to root for the team like, please don't do that. We're going to lose now. We're going to lose. Don't go that way. Oh, man, he went to the devil, man. You're going to lose. But hey, it is what it is. He said, to no profit. Verse 20.
Shall a man make gods unto himself, and they are no gods?
Should you do that? Should you make these statues? Should you have these pictures and portraits up there? There's no God? 21.
Therefore, behold, I will this once cause them to know. I will cause them to know mine hand and my might, and they shall know that my name is the Lord.
Hey, we know what his name is, right? They gonna know that. It ain't gonna be no, and they gonna say, "Ooh, we got it now." The Lord gonna kill it, because you can see right now. The stronghold is the people, the Gentiles. They ruling the world. Ain't no coincidence, but it's their time to rule, because God gave all the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth time to rule the world. And when the iniquity filled, it's over with. So it's their time to rule, and they're not gonna let it go easy. This is what they doing. They gonna go this route but the Lord gonna have to deal with the nation. I was talking to my brother. He was telling me, we talk about an incident, about a little kid that happened, was a little 18-month-old kid was in the couch and died. And I'm like, hey, if you don't do what you're supposed to do, because, you think you heartless when that stuff, but I've been trying to tell him, like, you part of the problem. You part of the problem because you don't want to hear. If most people think, oh, it's because I don't kill and I don't steal that I'm right. There's way more laws of getting right by God than that. You think you help, you part of the problem. So I don't even want to hear about that stuff. You hate when kids die, you hate that stuff. Hey, we all do. But if you ain't going to change, look at the big picture, it's not going to help. You got to change as a whole. That was it, right, brother? Mm-hmm. Let's move further. Galatians 4. Galatians 4. Galatians 4. And we're going to figure out the order. Galatians 4, we're going to pick it up verse 1. 4 and 1. Go ahead, brother.
Now I say that the heir, as long as he is a child, differeth nothing from a servant, though he be Lord of all.
So he's giving you an example of that, on how things go. Just the order on how things go. Go ahead.
but is under tutors and governors until the time appointed of the Father.
Go ahead.
Even so we, when we were children, were in bondage under the elements of the world.
And we all been down there. Some of us not. Some of us grew up in this thing. But for the most part, us as a whole, as a nation of people, we all under bondage. And guess who we under bondage to? We already know. I don't even have to say it. So, but you are on the elements of the world. You have your world, which you would call carnal mind, and not spiritual mind. But go ahead, verse 4.
But when the fullness of the time was come, God sent forth his Son, made of a woman, made under the law, to redeem them that were under the law, that we might receive the adoption of sons.
See, and we saw that with Israel, right? And that's passed on to everybody. You have to be adopted. That's what you do when you adopt a child, right? You change his name. So you coming up under that, but then you come up under the banner of God. But you coming up under the banner of Israel. So it ain't like you just following them. No, you ain't following God, because that's God's name. So you up under that banner. So you being adopted. So that's what it's telling. Verse 5. Oh, you read that, right? Mm-hmm. All right, let's move forward. Let's go to John 8. Now you're going to see this here as some religious leaders that Jesus was having a problem with, because Israel's stiff-necked, they hard-headed, they don't want to listen to anything, so they sit up here battling Jesus here, because they were supposed to be the so-called priests, which they were, but hey, they're not doing it according to knowledge, then hey, they ain't doing it according to God. If you deviate from how God got things set up, then you're doing something on your own. That's anything. It's just that simple. You got a certain way to do things. If you decide to do it a different way, guess what? It's just simple. That's something different. And that's what happened. So he was battling with these religious leaders, which was the Pharisees and the Sadducees. John 8, pick it up at verse 39. 8 and 39. Go ahead.
They answered and said unto him, Abraham is our father. Jesus saith unto them.
So now they say follow him on the bound of Abraham, right? But then, of course, you're going to go that way, right? Because that's the covenant, right? We read it was a covenant. We see that that's the order on how things must go. That's why we say, why Israel? Because that's the line you must lay upon. So we going up under that. So they use Abraham. Trust me, they use Abraham for a lot of stuff. They figured, hey, we call Abraham, that means I'm righteous. No, it's about what you do. So he said, they answered and said unto him, Abraham is our father. But go ahead.
Jesus saith unto them, if ye were Abraham's children, ye would do the work of Abraham.
So he said, hey, if you was Abraham, so you do the work. We read what the works was, right? He kept his statutes, commandments, right? He did exactly, he was obedient, right? Even to Isaac we talked about, right? We read that, right? We read the whole thing, but, we know that's what that was, right? He's off his son up, right? So he was obedient even to kill his son. But they not doing that. He said, if you was others, you do the works, Abraham. Which they ain't doing no works. But go ahead, verse 4.
But now ye seek to kill me, a man that had told you the truth, which I have heard from God. This did not Abraham.
Hey, he's right, because he told the truth. And they believed. Abraham believed. But these brothers not. He said, I done told you the truth and you don't believe. You not under Abraham. Get that out of your mind. You're not operating like Abraham was. But they acting like they ain't getting it and understand. But he gonna let them know. Go ahead. Verse 41.
Ye do the deeds of your father. They say, then said they to him, we be not born of fornication. We have one Father, even God.
And that's really what it should be, right? We should have one way to go, right? One Father, right? Which is God. But they ain't doing the works. See, we can talk. You got a lot of people say, you can go out on the street right now, and the average person to tell you, they most of the time they'll tell you, hey, they believe in Jesus, they love Jesus, right? That's just lip service. Because you come to find out what they're talking about, that ain't Jesus. They got that Corinthian Jesus, the other Jesus. That's not, you got to follow the way it's written. You got to follow what's here, what God have set up. You decide to deviate that, then it ain't about Israel, then it's about something else. And that's what people fail to realize. They don't line up like that. So he said then, verse 41, he said, ye do the deeds of your father. Then they said unto him, we be not born of fornication, we have one Father, even God. So that sounds good. But look what Jesus says, 42.
Jesus said unto them, if God were your Father, ye would love me, for I proceeded forth and came from God. Neither came I of myself, but he sent me.
So he said, hey, I didn't come by myself. God sent me. This is what God did. He sent me here. This is not me alone. I came this way. This is what God sent. But we found that out, right? We read that, right? We seen the order. That's the order how it has to go. So you got to follow on that order. You start deviating, this is the problem you have. He said, God sent me. 43.
Why do ye not understand my speech? Even because you cannot hear my words.
See, that happens a lot of times. You talking to people, they trying to tell you something, they ain't even read the Bible before. Yeah, I'm going to tell you. Do you understand what this means? No. You understand what Genesis is about? You understand what Exodus is about? Nah. But I know one thing. Hey, yeah, I know that you saved by grace, brother. That's all I know. Hey, it's more to it than that. The order come with the thing. I know it's in there somewhere. It's somewhere it's in there. I know it's in there. The Lord say saved by grace. I know it's in there. You don't know, then you need to be listening, not trying to tell somebody something. Because they're so quick to try to teach you, and they don't know nothing about it. But once you get a little seasoned in a little bit, and you get around your familiars, they stop that. That is at the beginning. Once you get around a little bit more, they be calling you up. So what did God say about this, brother? What he said? It don't be that about no more. They be asking questions. But before, they forgot that they was up there trying to tell you like they knew something. Come on. And sometimes it get real crazy because I didn't talk to a brother that I know. Never even went to church. I got him in the corner one time. He was like, he went to church probably about 40 years ago. Then he gonna say, I'm gonna go talk to my pastor. I was like, boy, this brother got something on him. I know you don't got to go to church. You ain't went to church 40 years, but you got a pastor now all of a sudden. Hey, you got a spirit on. That's all. So he said, boy, 43. He said, why do you not understand my speech? Even because you can't not hear my words. Say, what is it? You just can't hear my words? So he said, I'm going to tell you plain. Because obviously people talking, they can't hear you. Like that brother I was talking to that lost his mind. Hey, it gets to a point where they ain't even trying to hear. You just trying to teach and trying to put forth a bogus doctrine. Hey, it gets crazy. Man, we still with these Hebrews, man. Man, they are messed up. But then he said, what if he said, why did you not understand my speech? 43, even you cannot hear my word. 44, he just told him plain. Go ahead.
Ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning and abode not in the truth.
Right, he just told him straight up. You're from the devil. Now keep in mind, this Jesus talking. People tell you, people tell you stuff, you got a devil. People tell the average person they got a devil, they get offended. The Lord told him right, he said, man, I'm telling you right now, you from the devil. He said he was a murderer from the beginning and abode not in the truth. Because what?
Because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own. For he is a liar and the father of it.
And why is he a liar and the father of it? Go back to Genesis when it started. He lied to Adam and Eve. And then Cain what? Killed Abel, right? So that came all through him because he told Cain, hey, if you don't want to do right, sin lies at the door, right? So if he's lying at the door, he's letting them know, hey, this is your problem. And you're going to be unto him. You're going to serve him. You're going to follow him. And that's what happened. That's why it's a separation from the sons of God and the sons of Satan. If you do the works of God, you with God. Plain and simple. If you don't do those works, you with the devil. Plain and simple. This is what he's telling. Verse 45.
And because I tell you the truth, ye believe me not. Which of you convinceth me of sin?
He said, which one you convincing me of sin? Because that's really what it's all about, right? If you say I got a devil, then well, tell me what my sin. Where did I sin at? Show me my sin. But they can't. And what?
And if I say the truth, why do ye not believe me?
He said, but if I tell you the truth, why is it that you can't believe what I'm trying to tell you? I'm speaking the truth. Why you can't believe? Verse 47.
He that is of God heareth God's words. Ye therefore hear them not, because ye are not of God.
So when you're talking to somebody and you're trying to show them this, and if they don't listen, guess what? They can't hear because they're hearing something else. Just like Cain was in the beginning. You can't read it all, but he told them, hey, if you do good, you're going to be blessed. But if you don't, sin lies at the door. That means you listen to somebody else. That's how it already stopped. That's why the creation is dying to this day. He told them, don't talk or get any information, speak with the knowledge of good and evil. That's what it was. Wasn't no Apple, people. It wasn't no fairy tale stuff going on. That's when that brother came in. He heard about an apple, and he was like, that's fairy tales, brother. Yeah, that part is, but that ain't in the book. Ain't about no apple. But yeah, if you thinking of it in that aspect, you would think it's fairy tale. Talk about Adam is Adam, brother. Jacob created them, and they're like, what the heck is this dude talking about? He didn't went way to the left. You start listening to him, boy, you'd be like Russell Crowe on the board. Be like you know, all the hieroglyphics and stuff like the guy in Egypt. Like, what the heck is that? Decipher this. you become mad. But let's go further. Did you finish that?
Uh-huh.
So let's go to Rome. Let's go to Romans 9. Yes, sir. Praise the Lord. Understand. Romans 9. Pick up at verse 5. Romans 9 and 5. Go ahead.
Whose are the fathers, and of whom, as concerning the flesh, Christ came, who is over all, God bless forever. Amen.
Go ahead.
Not as though the word of God had taken none effect, for they are not all Israel which are of Israel.
See, he's telling you that point. And you see that. That's why when I was talking to that brother, I said, you gone. Even though he was Israel, but he ain't Israel. He's talking about some stuff, evening, evolution, and all that, brother. You don't understand. You know, people was created. You talking about Gentiles was created. I'm like, dude, you done lost your mind. But then all Israel is Israel. Go ahead.
Neither, because they are the seed of Abraham, are they all children.
Now we seen that, right? He told him, he said, I know you seed Abraham, right? When you was talking to the Pharisees, Jesus was. But you ain't doing the deeds of it. So if you ain't doing those deeds, then now you ain't really the children of Abraham, because you ain't doing what Abraham did. You doing something else. So it don't, in it itself, being Israel don't do you no good if you don't do what you're supposed to do. You're going to get cut off like anybody else. Because the only thing that's make you a peculiar people is that you know God and you doing that. Because without the production, you got nothing. You can't produce a movie without production, right? Yeah, ain't nothing going to happen. So without you doing something, it's not going to do it. He said, verse 8, he said, neither, because they are all seeds of Abraham, are not all children. But what? Verse 7.
But in Isaac shall thou seed be called.
And that's because he was named by Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? So you coming through that lineage. Go ahead.
That is, they which are the children of the flesh, these are not the children of God, but the children of the promise are counted for the seed.
So you got to do the word. They're the ones that's counted. Verse 9.
For this is the word of promise. At this time will I come, and Sarah shall have a son.
Go ahead.
And not only this, but when Rebekah also had conceived by one, even by our father Isaac, for the children being not yet born, neither having done any good or evil, that the purpose of God according to the election might stand, not of works, but of him that calleth.
Go ahead. So go ahead.
It was said unto her, the elder shall serve the younger.
So that was how it's going. It's going down the line, Abraham, Isaac. This is where we at. Go ahead. And he said the elder shall serve the younger, but go ahead.
As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated.
So that's how it's written. He said, as it's written, Jacob he loved, and Esau he hated. So that's the order on how God have it set up. But let's go further. Let's go to Hebrews. Let's follow in due order. Hebrews 12. Hebrews 12. Pick it up at verse 14. 12 and 14. Go ahead.
Follow peace with all men and holiness, without which no man shall see the Lord, looking diligently, lest any man fail of the grace of God.
See, he's telling you, hey, you can fail. Nobody read that. He's talking about, I'm saved by grace. He's telling you right here, look at this, lest any man fail of the grace of God. I mean, you can fail. So how can you be saved by the grace if you can fail? People, you need to get educated. Go ahead.
Lest any root of bitterness springing up trouble you, and thereby many be defiled.
So he said, hey, let some root trouble you. You know, they had in the law, you know, normally the firstborn is the one who get the covenant. Hey, the Lord switched that. You're going to find out why. But go ahead.
Lest there be any fornicator or profane person, as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright.
See, he sold it. So now you see why, what happened. He didn't count the birthright worth nothing, but sold it. But then look what he did. He said profane, right? But this is what he did. Go ahead.
For ye know how that afterward, when he would have inherited the blessing.
So he was trying to get it. Then what happened?
He was rejected.
Why was he rejected?
For he found no place of repentance.
He didn't repent. He didn't tell his father, you know what? Yeah, I really gave it away. I didn't really count it. I didn't really want it. I didn't think about it. So it's time to get it. You know, that's how people are. When it's time to get something, then you want to step up. But first you didn't want it. But hey, this is when you have the wrong mindset. But then again, what mindset you think he got? Pay attention to that. He said, for he knew that afterwards when he would have, verse 17, when he would have inherited the blessing, he was rejected and found no place of repentance, though what?
Though he sought it carefully with tears.
See, that's why I tell a lot of times, because you crying don't make it right. A lot of people get emotional. They get almost, break it down. But what we want to do is get to the point. We're going to get to the crux of the matter. Not that I don't care about your emotions on how you feel. I do care about how you feel. But sometimes you can feel the wrong way. Sometimes your emotion can take you the wrong way and you do stuff. You know, that happens all the time. You know, people get mad when stuff happens. Emotion take them the wrong way. They end up killing somebody. You know, that's when you have stuff like premeditated murder, you know, or you just got plain murder. You know, you thought about it and you didn't think about it. You know, so you don't want to get carried away with your emotions. He did right here. He was crying. He was acting, you know, really, right? He was acting, oh man, get me wrong. Crying with tears. Tears coming down. He would have probably got an Oscar for that one, wouldn't he? But hey, but at the end of the day, he wasn't right. He didn't repent. He didn't do what he's supposed to. He saw carefully, he with tears though. So hey, you got to make sure you line stuff up. A lot of times people come with a lot of stuff. You know, like I was talking about with my brother with the young kid, which is a terrible thing to happen. The baby died. Was 1 year old. Hey, we all have to do right. And we all have to straighten ourselves out. And if we don't go down the path of doing what we're supposed to do, then these events are going to occur. And you have to get to the crook of the matter and dealing with the whole problem. That's what happens a lot of times when you deal with issues. You're not dealing with what's going to solve stuff. That's like when they brought stuff to Jesus. They brought stuff to him about Pilate mingled them with blood in there. You know, you looking for some crying like, you know, help me, like he was doing Isaac crying. Oh, help, help. No, I need bless me, even me, my father bless me. No. Let's deal with the main course. And that's what we need to do with all the time. Let's deal with the main thing. Let's get to that. Because they brought it to Jesus about the towels, right? They were saying, oh, Pilate, you hear about Pilate was mingling some of the people and sacrificed their blood. You know, Jesus talking about, what about that towel that killed people? And his point was, and you would think for some emotion you feel good, he told them, hey, you better get yourself together. You're going to be next. That was his advice. You were like, what? You coming with that. He's telling you, why is he saying that? Oh, it seems like he's cold. No, he's not cold. He's just letting you know, hey, we need to stop doing this so that things can be better. You know, so if you focus on yourself, getting yourself together, then things will be better. We always want to try to worry about, that's like he called me about what's happening in the world with the kid and all that stuff. Hey, you need to straighten yourself out. Get that together. Then you will work. Then it stop that. Because if you don't start straightening yourself out, another kid going to be done. It's going to keep going on. So that's why Jesus said that. And he has more love and care because he's trying to fix the problem, not talk about what's going on. We can all talk all day about, oh, it's terrible. We can cry like Esau. Man, the world's going to hell. Oh, it's a bad word. Most people say that. This world's terrible. It's bad. This is kill. It's bad. It's bad. And I don't have no sympathy for it because I know you like to have it like that. You love it that way. You wouldn't have it no other way. You know why? Because you won't change. Let's go further. Y'all get me into this stuff again. I was like this last week, man. Y'all got me going. Romans 8. Nobody don't want to change. They like it like this. You want murder, death, kill. You love to have it so, because if you didn't, you would do something different. But you don't want to do nothing different. So keep having it this way. Ain't that Burger King? Ain't they slogan that? Have it your way. I'm going to give them that every time. You remember you hear about that? Have it your way. You know, have it your way. They be like, that brother crazy. Have it your way. You like it like that because you don't want to change. You refuse to listen. I might as well talk to the wall. I might as well go over to Jerusalem and talk to that Wailing Wall like they doing. That false wall, the Lord said, not one stone will be up on another. Let me get over there. I might get more production out of them. Hold on, let me get over there. It's crazy. Crazy. Romans 8. Romans 8, pick it up at verse 14. It's going to give you an example of how you say you are a son of God. It's going to show it. And this is all why Israel. Romans 8:14. Go ahead, brother.
For as many as are led by the Spirit of God, they are the sons of God.
It's just that simple. There's a way to do it, and that's it. If you do what God say, then you a son of God. It ain't difficult. It's real simple. But if you ain't doing it, you're not. There's a lot of people say, yeah, I'm with God, I'm with Jesus, I love Jesus. I'll tell you, I said this last week, boy, I'm going to make you guys mean as hell. And when you hear people say, I love Jesus, you're going to have your face turned up, and I'm like, You ain't doing nothing. It's just lip service. He said, for as many led by the Spirit of God, they're son of God. Verse 15.
For ye have not received the spirit of bondage again to fear, but ye have received the spirit of adoption, whereby we cry, Abba, Father.
So you getting that spirit of adoption. But we seen how that go, right? We seen how Israel's name was changed, right? Or Jacob to Israel, should I say. You see how that was laid out. You see how it is. You have to come under that banner. And we seen that it's right up under Israel. He set the bounds of the nations under Israel. It's all in there. You got 12 hours a day and night. It's just like that. 12 apostles. Everything's set up under those bounds. But that's under God. And it's his order. That's all it is. Romans 1. So we understand the order on what we're doing. We're not just following a group. We following Israel, which is God, and we get under that banner because that's the way we must walk. So we walk in that way because that's the way the Lord chose. You want to learn something from God, you're going to walk that way he's walked. So if he chose to go under Israel and run that, even though that's his name, you see that, you walk that way. That's what we're supposed to do. There ain't no other way about it. Being obedient to be God. Not to mention, he got a gift to give you, and he got a reward to give you too. And everybody gonna get a reward. I'm here to tell you. You know, like Oprah said, everybody gets a car. Hey, everybody get a reward. Everybody gonna get one. I'm telling you now, everybody getting one. Thing is, and everybody gonna get in the kingdom too. Everybody's getting in the kingdom, and everybody's getting a reward. But there's a lake of fire in the kingdom too. Yeah, I'm gonna put that, slide that in there. And if you don't do and be obedient and do what God say, that's your reward. To burn forever. I'm telling you that like that because, hey, I want you to wake up and do what's right. There's one way to go, and that's just it. One Lord, one faith, one baptism. The Lord said, we got to get under that banner. We have to do it. You be stubborn, hey, Lord, don't bring that rod up. And how you going to operate without God even into this world right now? I don't even know how I made it this far without knowing God till I got to know him. Praise the Lord. Romans 1. We're going to read one verse. 1 and 16. Go ahead.
For I am not ashamed of the gospel of Christ.
Because sometimes you get like that. You start learning the truth. People get shown you. You start saying, hey, I keep the Sabbath. People are like, well, you can't do nothing. Hey, he told me, I ain't ashamed. I'm going to tell you how bold. When you first started, you've been a little leery to say something. You're like, what church, what denomination you in? You be kind of shy not to say nothing. Now I'm like, I'm Israel. At first, you might be a little shy. So he said, for I'm not ashamed of the gospel of Christ. For what?
For it is the power of God unto salvation to everyone that believes.
And that's what we all looking for, right? Getting salvation. Go ahead.
To the Jew first, and also to the Greek.
See, it's just the order. Everybody's coming. You got the Jews, you got the Gentiles. Everybody's coming. It's just an order. And trust me, the first people that's going to be in the lake of fire, guess what? After the beast and the false prophet, because they're going in there first. But after them, guess who's going in there first next? Yeah, that's right. Israel's going in there, brother spoke out. Good, yeah. That's exactly what's going to happen. So you get the first of everything. Hey, God's hand is even. He's even on both sides. He said, for I'm not ashamed of the gospel of Christ, for it is the power of God, verse 16, unto the salvation of everyone that believes, to the Jew first and also to the Greek. It's just an order on which God set up, which we saw that, and we understand clearly at this point, Lord willing, we got the whole bounds of how things are supposed to go and why Israel. At least we got some understanding of that. So praise ye the Lord. Psalms 147. Psalms 147. We're going to pick it up at verse 19. Psalms 147 and verse 19. And I'm gonna give you all why Israel. We about to hit you with some more. We're gonna give you the crooks of the matter. Psalms 147 and 19. Go ahead, brother.
He showed his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel.
So he showed his words unto Jacob, and his name was changed to Israel, his statute and judgment unto Israel. But what else? 20.
He hath not dealt so with any nation. As far as his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye the Lord.
You can see that today. He ain't dealing with other nations. So who are these people on the wrong on the 7 hills? Who are they? Call themselves, got the Peter passed it on to them. You can see they ain't dealt with him. They walking around with big crosses on them hanging off them, singing songs and humming. I went to one of the captain thing. I ain't know where to sit up or get down. It was like, it was some crazy stuff. You don't know what to say. I was like, sit down, get up and sit down. You lost in there. And they chanting. What the heck are we dealing with? But then you see that right there. Read that verse again, man. Read that again. Please see verse 20. Read verse 20 again.
He hath not dealt so with any nation.
We can see that. He ain't dealt with this. He ain't dealt with nobody else. You know that ain't it. No, brother. That is not it. That is not it. They kissing crosses and stuff. And then he says what? As what?
As for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye the Lord.
Yeah, they don't know them judgments. They definitely ain't know none of that. They ain't got no understanding when it comes to that. No, sir. Let's go further. Let's go to Malachi 3. Because a lot of people say stuff like, it's right now, brother, it was like that. Started with God, started in the beginning. It was like that at first. It was like that at first, but then now it's, it ain't with Israel no more. It's not that way. But I'm just going to show you that it's still that way. And he's going to show you why. Malachi 3 and read verse 6. 3 and 6. Go ahead.
For I am the Lord, I change not.
So he's telling you, I'm the Lord, I change. He don't change. God do not change. This is the way. No matter how it go, God don't, he make a covenant. He don't break his covenant. That's what we fail to realize. That covenant between Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, down to the 12 patriarchs, that's still today. It don't change. He's telling you right, if I'm the Lord, I change not. That means he don't change. He ain't going to switch over. So I don't know why they over there doing that. They want their head busted. Therefore what?
Therefore, ye sons of Jacob are not consumed.
Yeah, that's why they be wondering what they going to do with us. You're like, man, we didn't do all types of stuff to these people, man. They still here. And if it wasn't for God, we would have been consumed. Because, some people done some statistics on Israel. They was like, really, they should be extinct people of all the stuff that had happened to them. They shouldn't really be here. If you did happen to any other nation, they'd be gone. But hey, praise ye the Lord. The Lord said, hey, you ain't consumed. You're going to keep that remnant, right? That's what he said. So let's go further. Let's go to Hebrews. Hebrews 13. Because then, sometimes you got to read it in both spots. Because they say, oh, that was old, brother. So you read that in Malachi. Lord changed. I was back then. We got the New Testament now. We got Jesus. We got Jesus, brother. That's the old. We have to, even though we don't know that was Jesus from the beginning, we ain't got no knowledge on that. But anyway, we're going to read the New Testament and see if God changed. Hebrews 13, and read that verse 8, brother.
Jesus Christ, the same yesterday, today, and forever.
He's telling, he said, Jesus Christ the same yesterday. Now, we know what yesterday is, right? He ain't talking about yesterday, right? He ain't talking about Friday, right? He's talking about yesterday. He said same yesterday, and then he also said forever. So we know what he's talking about. He said forever. We all know what forever is, right? Sometimes people don't, then you start reading books, you be reading stuff like forever. Well, he didn't really mean forever. He mean forever. Forever mean forever. So we telling you in the New Testament, he don't change at all. He stay the same. He doesn't change. Deuteronomy 6. We're getting down to the end. Deuteronomy 6. Deuteronomy 6. Pick it up at verse 1. 6 and 1. Go ahead, my brother.
Now, these are the commandments, the statutes, and the judgments which the Lord your God commanded to teach you, that ye might do them in the land whither ye go to possess it.
So that's the thing. You need to make sure you follow suit. But we already understand this is what you need to do, right? Verse 2.
That thou mightest fear the Lord thy God, to keep all his statutes and his commandments, which I command thee, thou and thy son and thy son's son, all the days of thy life, and that thy days may be prolonged.
Hey, this is what we need to live on. He's telling you, hey, your days don't prolong if you do what I tell you to do. So you gotta make sure you keep in mind that you follow under the order of God. Verse 3.
Hear therefore, O Israel, and observe to do it, that it may be well with thee, and that ye may increase mightily, as the Lord God of thy fathers hath promised thee, in the land that floweth with milk and honey.
We know the story of this, but go ahead, brother.
Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one God.
See, it's one God. So if it's one God, it's only one way. And that's the way we must go. We all got to follow under that. He's only one. He says they was Israel, right? So we all got to follow under that one way. Go ahead, brother. Verse 5.
And thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thine heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might. And these words, which I command thee this day, shall be in thine heart.
See, and we know that, hey, you got to keep it in your mind. We read that earlier, right? So these commandments got to be in your heart. But go ahead.
And thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. And thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thine hand, and they shall be as frontlets between thine eyes. And thou shalt write them upon the posts of thy house and on thy gates.
So he's telling you, hey, these commandments should be there. Teach your children so they understand, so they don't forget God. Right now, they have totally forgot God, don't care about God, and don't understand. So that's why when you speak about Israel, they are totally lost. They don't see it. They don't know nothing about it. Israel, they say, is in there like 3,000 sometimes. When you talk about Israel, they're like, what, Israel? Who is that? Dude, they're in the Bible almost every page of the book. What are we reading? What are we learning? They're all over there. It's unbelievable. But hey, that goes to show you the truth of God. Let's go to the last verse. Revelation 2. We're going to read one verse. Revelation 2. We're going to pick up at verse 17. Revelations 2, 17. Go ahead.
He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the church.
So he said, hey, if you got an ear, listen to this. We talking about adoption, changing names and all that, getting adopted unto God, following under Israel. Check this out. Go ahead.
To him that overcometh will I give to eat of the hidden manna, and will give him a white stone, and in the stone a new name written.
Look at that. You're going to get a new name written, right? But hey, you're getting adopted. Go ahead.
Which no man knoweth, saving he that receiveth it.
See? And you get up under Israel, you fall up under that banner, the Lord give you a new name, you adopted, you're on the sons of God, you start to walk in that light. Why Israel? I thank y'all for y'all time.